June 17, 1940, 1558. A bomb falls straight down a ship's funnel. 20 minutes later, up to 7,000 souls are gone. More than the Titanic, more than the Lusitania, more than any single ship in British history. Winston Churchill himself ordered the story buried. Newspapers were silenced. Families were told nothing. For decades, Britain's greatest maritime disaster was a secret the government refused to speak, until now. The RMS Lancastria was a British ocean liner requisitioned by the UK government during World War II. On June 17, 1940, while evacuating British troops and civilians from Saint-Nazaire, France during Operation Ariel, she was bombed by German Junkers Ju-88 aircraft. The ship sank in approximately 15 to 20 minutes. Modern estimates suggest between 4,000 and 7,000 people died, making it the largest single ship loss of life in British maritime history. Only 2,177 survived. Prime Minister Winston Churchill personally ordered the disaster suppressed, fearing it would devastate national morale. Lancastria was built in 1922 as a Cunard luxury liner, designed to carry passengers across the Atlantic in style. At 16,243 gross tons and 578 feet long, she spent the interwar years as a cruise ship, sailing the Caribbean and Mediterranean. In September 1939, her final peacetime cruise ended abruptly in New York when World War II erupted. She was immediately converted into a troop ship. Her elegant dining room stripped, her cabins refitted for military bunks, her luxury replaced with functionality. She had already proven herself under fire, successfully evacuating troops from Norway while dodging German bombers in the North Sea. Her crew considered her lucky, unsinkable even. They were wrong. If you're shocked that this story was hidden for decades, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're exposing the war disasters history tried to bury. June 1940. France was collapsing. The British Expeditionary Force had already escaped from Dunkirk 2 weeks earlier, but thousands of British troops, RAF personnel and civilians, remained trapped in western France. Operation Ariel was launched, a desperate evacuation from ports like Saint-Nazaire before German forces arrived. June 17th, early morning. Lancastria anchored in Charpentier Roads, approximately 5 nautical miles offshore from Saint-Nazaire. Her captain, Rudolf Sharp, was ordered to embark as many people as possible. Capacity limits were ignored. All morning and into the afternoon, boats ferried soldiers, airmen, and refugees to the ship. Estimates vary wildly, but somewhere between 5,000 and 9,000 people were crammed aboard a vessel designed for 3,000 maximum capacity. Men filled every deck, corridor, and compartment. The dining salon was packed. The holds were stuffed with humanity. People sat shoulder to shoulder, standing room only. Lancastria sat dangerously low in the water. Captain Sharp wanted to leave immediately, but he was ordered to wait for destroyer escorts due to Luftwaffe activity. That decision would kill thousands. By 1530, the ship was finally preparing to depart. Lifeboats were swung out, engines were readied, relief spread through the exhausted crowd. Then, at 1550, the air raid siren screamed. 6 Junkers Ju-88 bombers from Kampfgeschwader 30 descended from the clouds. Bren gunners aboard Lancastria opened fire desperately, but it was futile. The first bombs missed, geysers of water erupting alongside the hull. Then the second wave struck. 15, 58, 10. A bomb smashed through the dining salon, exploding on a lower deck. Hundreds were killed instantly. Splinters of wood and metal tore through packed corridors. 15, 58, 15. A second bomb landed in hold number 2. 15, 58, 20. A third bomb struck hold number 3. 15, 58, 25. The fourth bomb fell straight down the ship's funnel and detonated in the engine room. The explosion was catastrophic. The heart of the ship was destroyed. Power failed. Pumps stopped. Fuel oil tanks ruptured, spilling thousands of gallons into the sea. Lancastria began listing immediately to port. Panic erupted. Thousands of men scrambled for exits. Many were trapped below deck as corridors collapsed. Others fought to reach lifeboats, but only 2 boats were successfully launched before the ship tilted beyond recovery. Men jumped overboard by the hundreds, plummeting 30 feet into oil-slicked water. Many died on impact, necks broken by life jackets, skulls fractured against the hull. Those who survived the fall choked on fuel oil that coated the surface like black tar. 1612, 20 minutes after the first bomb hit, RMS Lancastria rolled onto her port side and sank. But the horror wasn't over. The Luftwaffe returned and strafed survivors in the water. Machine gun rounds tore through men clinging to wreckage, to lifeboats, to anything that floated. Rescue ships raced in under continued air attack. They pulled oil-covered men from the water, but for everyone saved, 3 drowned, froze, or suffocated in the fuel slick. By nightfall, 2,477 survivors were rescued, but between 4,000 and 7,000 had perished, a death toll greater than the Titanic and Lusitania combined. Winston Churchill received the news in the cabinet room that afternoon. His response: "The newspapers have got quite enough disaster for today at least." He banned all reporting of the sinking. For 5 weeks, Britain remained silent. Families received telegrams saying their loved ones died with the BEF. Nothing more. The story was finally broken in the United States on July 25th by the New York Times. Even then, Britain downplayed the disaster. It would take decades for the truth to emerge. For 85 years, Lancastria has rested in Charpentier Roads, just 5 nautical miles off Saint Nazaire. Unlike the Titanic or Bismarck, no major expedition has fully explored her. She remains a war grave, protected, respected, but largely unseen, until recent sonar mapping and limited submersible reconnaissance began revealing what the ocean has kept hidden. As we descend past 20 meters, visibility drops to near zero. The waters off Saint Nazaire are murky, thick with sediment, plankton, and decades of maritime traffic. Only sonar pulses guide us deeper through the cold, green void. At 55 meters down, shallow by deep ocean standards but deep enough to be deadly, the sonar detects a massive contact. Length, 175 meters. Beam, 22 meters. Target acquired. And then, a shape emerges from the gloom. The hull of the RMS Lancastria rises from the seabed, listing heavily to port, fractured, but unmistakably hers. She sits upright but tilted at nearly 45 degrees. Her funnel, the funnel the bomb fell through, is collapsed, a twisted mass of corroded steel. Marine growth covers every surface. Fishing nets drape across her superstructure like shrouds. She looks forgotten, because for 85 years, she was. The ship is a war grave, so full penetration is forbidden. But even from outside, the devastation is visible. The holds where bombs exploded are gaping voids. Twisted metal peels outward like flowers of death. The dining salon, where hundreds died in the first seconds, is a collapsed cavern. Tables, chairs, and personal belongings are fused with sediment. The elegance is gone. Only ruin remains. The engine room, destroyed by the funnel bomb, is a blackened crater. The turbines that once propelled her at 16 knots are barely recognizable. This is where the ship died. Near the stern, lifeboats remain in their davits, never launched. One hangs at a grotesque angle, frozen mid-deployment for 85 years. It's a monument to panic and tragedy. Personal effects litter the deck. Shoes, helmets, canteens, gas masks. Each one belonged to someone, a soldier, a civilian, a child perhaps. Each one represents a life extinguished in 20 minutes. But one item stands out, a child's toy, a small metal truck, resting on the deck near the forward hold, untouched for 85 years, a silent witness to the moment everything changed. Lancastria wasn't just evacuating soldiers, families were aboard, women, children, refugees desperate to escape the Nazi advance. This toy belonged to a child who boarded with hope and never reached England. It rests here now, 55 meters down, in a grave Britain tried to forget. In this cold, murky darkness, just miles from the French coast, in waters where ships still pass daily, the RMS Lancastria tells her story without a single word. Steel corrodes, governments hide, newspapers stay silent, but the sea remembers. Up to 7,000 souls rest here. Fathers, sons, mothers, children. They survived Dunkirk. They survived weeks of retreat. They were hours from safety, and they were erased, not just by bombs, but by official secrecy that lasted generations. Churchill said Britain had quite enough disaster for today, so Lancastria was buried twice. Once beneath the waves, and once beneath silence. But 85 years later, we refuse to forget. They deserve to be remembered. If this untold tragedy moved you, share it. Hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden war stories, and turn on notifications, because history shouldn't be buried just because it's painful. What other suppressed disasters should we expose? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's make sure the 7,000 souls of the Lancastria are never forgotten again.